So Nampak manufactures packaging in metal, glass, paper and plastic, has a market cap here of?
Market cap of, what do you think? Have you got a note there?
13.7 billion rand. 13.7 billion rand. Price to earnings ratio of 17.2 and no dividend yield.
Yeah, now this one has been under the cosh a little bit because it did pretty well for a period when Africa and the perceived growth in African economies like Angola and Nigeria were booming. They put down lots of capital there, bought some assets, bought some businesses. Then things got very sticky after about 2011, 2012. And since then, there have been currency convertibility issues and even in Nampak's case, some concerns about their balance sheet.
And bottling facilities, they are big into that glass bottling arena. Give us your thoughts. You're looking very, very concerned there, and camera needs to have caught Andrew's face before he started smiling.
Yeah, so Nampak, it's struggled for a number of years now. The balance sheet was one issue. They had a lot of debt sitting in Nigeria and Angola, US dollar debt, that's, and we know what the currency issues in those countries were like. So they had to fund that from their South African balance sheet, which caused some concern. So we saw their dividend, I think it was last year, disappear, which was an issue. And now if you think about companies' earnings that are linked to the economy, it's very easy to understand why Nampak has struggled. South Africa, Angola, Nigeria, oil-based African economies, the last two. So you can kind of get a sense of what these earnings have done, and then you see that PE that looks quite lofty. That's not price movement. That's unfortunately earnings having fallen away.
So let's have a look at let's go to the share chart.
So that's where it goes to the dog. So it does very well in 2013, 2014. People are feeling pretty positive, and then quite quickly unravels. Although through this period, Andrew Marshall, the CEO, and then subsequently Andrew Dittberner, remember he's an ex-Sasol guy,
is
done
he
a
still
great
there?
job. Yeah,
Andrew
is, and done a great job and communicated a lot with their shareholders and so on. But at the end of the day, the business gets valued by a reflection of its profits and its prospects. And at the moment, even getting money out of Angola is a problem, apparently.
Yeah, I think it's starting to improve.
Could this be the ultimate value play then?
Absolutely. I think, again, if we talk about a business that should be worth a hell of a lot more, I think Nampak is worth, as a business, their assets are worth a lot more than what the market
is giving them credit for.
Exactly. But you're probably going to need to be a little bit patient here, and they're getting it right, and we're starting to see the issues around their bottling plants, etc., improving in South Africa. UK, we haven't touched on UK. UK has also been a bit of an issue for them. They've lost some big clients there, so that's also hurt them. But that's, I think, is all in the rearview mirror now.
And Paul was saying steady leadership under Andrew Dittberner. Yeah. Do you agree?
Yes, yeah, I'd agree. I think he's done a fantastic job in an incredibly difficult environment.
Remember, this is quite a varied business. So they make everything from tissue, although they sold out of that a little bit, to tin. I mean, they buy metal and make tins, like shoe polishers in. They make, obviously, cans for the beverage industry. They make those out of steel and aluminium.
So the emphasis here has to be on the packaging element rather than the
side,
the
that's
paper.
all of the polystyrene enclosures and the PET bottles for the dumpy Cokes. They're not even to start talking about the massive production lines of glass for the breweries, guys. Well, now AB InBev. Although, let me tell you, that contract sounds like a good one to have, but those big giant companies give you a terrible time in terms of pricing.
And squeeze you
that
on margins
part of the problem.
completely.
In fact, they signed a new extension at a very reduced rate. And then they have this globally diversified business. So there's the UK as well, Blomacan. So, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, and that's it, a lot of moving parts. Could one say potentially still a lack of focus, or do you think that the portfolio has been appropriately cleaned up?
No, I think they're sorting out their issues. There were a lot of issues when you look back a couple of years, with...
What about consumer demand, though? Because, at some level, if the South African or regional economy is soft, then that's going to cause a bit of a knock-on in terms of purchasing.
That's absolutely, that's absolutely, earlier I said this is linked very much to the economic cycle and the consumer in particular, and we know in South Africa what the consumer spending has done over the last few years.
Potentially one for the bottom drawer again.
As I said, I think it's a patience game here, but I believe this business is worth more than what the market.
So do you wait for the turnaround? Do you wait for the first sign of an increase or a better consumer environment, or do you buy them now?
No, you buy now.
Trying to time it, I think we all know is a max game.
It's like catching a falling knife.
Buy it now. I would
hot.
wait.
Are you
I'm going to
hot?
go not hot. I
Not
reckon
hot.
you can still wait until the consumer mood improves.
Andrew, I'm interested in whether you are going to call it hot at this point.
I'm going to go hot.
You're going to go hot.